For most of human history, the planets were just little lights in the sky. We told myths about them, we dreamed up what they could be, but we didn't really know them. Well, today that all changes. We're cracking open the case file on our closest cosmic neighbors, the inner rocky worlds, and we're going to play detective to uncover their secrets, one robot at a time.
Just think about it for a second. We imagine these lush, swampy jungles on Venus and, ancient canals built by Martians. These were huge, compelling mysteries. But what was the truth? To find out, we had to actually go there. And in doing so, we launched one of the greatest detective stories ever told.
All right, first things first, let's meet the main suspects in our cosmic lineup. We're zeroing in on the inner four planets, the ones with solid, rocky surfaces, kind of like our own Earth. They're all in the same neighborhood, but as you're about to see, they cannot be more different.
So right off the bat, you can see that size is a big deal. Here's the lineup. From our own little moon, then Mercury, Mars, and finally Venus, which, get this, is so close in size to Earth that people call it our sister planet. But as our investigation is about to show, they are definitely not identical twins.
Okay, to crack this case, we needed eyes and ears out in deep space. And that's where our first robotic detectives come in, the Mariner program. This was this incredibly ambitious series of missions back in the 60s and 70s, and it was humanity's first real shot at getting an up-close and personal look at these mysterious worlds.
And just look at the pace of this thing. Over just one decade, NASA was launching mission after mission, targeting Venus, then Mars, and eventually the super-elusive Mercury. Each one built on the last, gathering clues, slowly peeling back the layers of mystery. But let me tell you, it was far from easy.
The very first mission, Mariner 1, was a total disaster. A single mistake in the software, what some people have called the most expensive typo in history, made the rocket veer off course. They had to destroy it just moments after launch. It was just a brutal, brutal reminder of how incredibly high the stakes were.
But the team didn't give up. Incredibly, just a few months later, its twin, Mariner 2, made it. It became the very first robotic probe to ever successfully fly by another planet, and it sent back the first data we ever got from Venus. The investigation was officially on.
Then came the first big break in the case. In 1964, Mariner 4 flew by Mars and transmitted the first close-up pictures of another planet. And wow, was it a shocker. Instead of canals and signs of life, scientists saw craters, just a barren, moon-like surface. This one picture, this single image, completely flipped the script on what we thought about Mars. The investigation got a lot deeper a few years later. Mariner 9 didn't just fly by Mars. It actually went into orbit, becoming the first spacecraft to ever circle another world. It mapped the whole planet in amazing detail, sending back over 7,300 images that revealed these giant volcanoes and vast canyon systems. Mars was no longer a simple, cratered wasteland. It was a complex, dynamic world. And the cleverness just kept coming. Mariner 10 was an absolute masterclass in orbital mechanics. To reach tiny little Mercury, way in, close to the Sun, it first flew past Venus. It used Venus's gravity like a slingshot to bend its path and fling itself towards its final target. It was the first mission to ever do this and our very first visit to Mercury.
So, after all that incredible detective work, what did the case files actually tell us? Well, the Mariner program painted this incredible gallery of worlds, each one with its own unique personality and its own secrets.
Okay, let's look at the evidence side by side. The key data our robotic detectives sent back showed 3 wildly different worlds. You've got Venus with a crushing, thick atmosphere, Mercury with almost no atmosphere at all, and Mars with a super thin one. And check out those temperature differences. And the moons? Venus and Mercury have 0, while Mars has 2 little ones.
All right, time for a pop quiz. Based on what you know about the solar system, you'd probably guess the planet closest to the Sun is the hottest one, right? So that would have to be Mercury. But is that what the evidence shows?
Surprise! It's actually Venus. So how is that possible? It's all about the atmosphere. That incredibly dense blanket of carbon dioxide, it's about 92 times thicker than Earth's, traps heat in this runaway greenhouse effect. The surface gets hot enough to melt lead. It's a really powerful lesson in how an atmosphere can completely define a world.
And what about Mercury? Well, it's a world of pure extremes. It's the smallest planet, and it just zips around the Sun in 88 days.
With no real atmosphere to spread the heat around, its temperature swings from crazy cold to unbelievably hot. And because it spins almost perfectly straight up and down, it has no seasons at all.
So of all the worlds we've looked at, there's one that has always captured our imagination more than any other. It's time to zoom in on the case file for Mars.
The Red Planet is a world of giants. It's home to Olympus Mons, the tallest volcano in the entire solar system. It's massive. It also has Valles Marineris, a canyon system so vast it would stretch all the way from California to New York. And orbiting this giant landscape are two tiny potato-shaped moons, Phobos and Deimos.
But the single most important clue we found on Mars points to its past. Scientists found unmistakable evidence of dried-up riverbeds. This was the smoking gun. Mars, the cold, dry desert we see today, might have once been a warmer, wetter world where liquid water flowed freely. And that means the conditions might have been right for life.
The investigation didn't stop with the Mariner missions. Oh no. In fact, those early clues kicked off decades of new missions, each one more advanced than the last. These modern-day detectives were sent to follow the water and keep searching for signs of life on Mars.
Take the Mars helicopter, Ingenuity. It was really just a tech demo, a super high-risk experiment. Its mission was simple: just prove that powered flight was even possible in the thin Martian air. The original goal, a mere 5 flights over 30 days. That's it.
But Ingenuity didn't just succeed, it absolutely shattered every single expectation. Forget 5 flights. This little helicopter made 72. It became this indispensable aerial scout for the Perseverance rover, and honestly, one of the most successful explorers we have ever sent to another planet. And over the course of all those flights, this tiny 4-pound helicopter flew a grand total of 17 kilometers. That's over 10 miles across the hostile Martian landscape. It's just an incredible achievement that's opened up a whole new way to explore other planets.
After almost 3 years of service, way beyond its planned 30-day mission, Ingenuity made its final flight in January 2024. A trailblazer's work was done, but it proved that for our robotic detectives, even the sky is no longer the limit.
From Mariner's first fuzzy pictures to Ingenuity's incredible aerial views, this whole cosmic investigation has completely transformed how we see our own neighborhood. We've turned mysteries into real, known worlds. But you know, that biggest question, the one sparked by those ancient riverbeds on Mars, that still remains. Were we ever truly alone in the solar system? The detective work is far from over.